Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you to Sarah, Jillian, and Julia at ArtsLink. Thank you to all of my colleagues during Catapult, Jean, Dawn, Glenn, Kelly, and Jared. This has been quite a process for me, so I'll tell you a little bit about myself. My name is Kasie Wilcox, and I am a multimedia artist based in Fredericton. I just moved back here. I'm originally from Fredericton because I was recently appointed the director of Connection Artisan Center for Contemporary Art here in the city. And if you're familiar with Connection, you'll know that we're generally a contemporary and experimental artisan center. And that's very informative of the type of work I do. If you're familiar with contemporary art, to summarize it in, I think, a really simple and poignant quote, is the idea is the machine that makes the art. So everything that I do is informed by a singular idea, and that's kind of determines the process or the mediums that I choose to work in. So this can take shape in a variety of ways, ranging generally from books, sculptures, virtual spaces. And what interests me is this idea of what is possible to be used as a material in art making, and what investigations can you be made when you're making art. So it's not necessarily about working in a singular medium for me, but thinking about taking an idea and iterating upon it and creating an experience around that. And Catapult has been a really interesting experience in where a lot of my work is ephemeral and temporary. How do you make a living off that, and how do you capitalize on that? And where can you create products from things that are not necessarily products to begin with? So I think coming back to the idea, I was thinking about what drew me to conceptual art originally, and what made it so I was interested in interventions and this idea of investigation. And I only have 5 minutes, so if you have the chance to look up Sophie Calle, she's an artist who has been extremely influential to my work and has really changed my entire perspective on art making. And she makes work that is both powerful and at times breaks boundaries and enters life in a way where she is taking on real human experiences and emotions and documenting them into art forms, and they're powerful and they make a change. And I guess that's what I'm trying to do, I guess, with my work, and that's what I aspire to do. So these images some of them are my art and some of them are just pictures that I take, because I really feel you can be an artist and you can do work every day, every moment that you're active in everyday life. And I'm concerned with contemporary life. So and what does that mean, like when you combine objects together and you make these expressions? So I think what I wanted to talk to you about primarily today was what I'm working on right now. And so through this process, I've been also working on a series of sculptures, and it's been really interesting trying to figure out, where does this all fit in with, we keep using the expression of slinging mugs, where you're kind of doing that, that core work that, keeps the machine going. And I've been working through this idea because I'm from New Brunswick, and I've stayed in New Brunswick, and I'm interested in New Brunswick. So thinking about where can my practice be related to the land and be related to the province I live in. So the project I'm working on is called 21st Century Fossils. And it's from a walk I took one day at Tin Can Beach in St. John. If you're familiar with St. John, it's on the most southern point of the city. And it's near a sugar refinery that's been since torn down, and near the Irving Refinery. And I was walking along and I found this rock that was basically a composite between concrete, natural rock sediment, garbage, wire, foam, and other industrial byproduct. And it was basically meshed into one object. And I found this so fascinating because I was looking at it and I was like, this is so strange and this is so compelling. And like, thinking about why can't this be an art object? And thinking about why can this be a work of art? So and the reason I was thinking about it was reading this book called Horror and Architecture. And it relates ideas of architecture to tropes in horror. And it talks a lot about like clones and mutations and aliens. And I was thinking about mutation a lot. So looking at this rock, I was like, this is a land mutation. This is an object that has been mutated due to the effect of humanity in relationship to geology. So since then, I started a series of sculptures thinking of this idea and combining plastics and byproducts and leftover of our 21st century into these fossils, artists made fossils, and situating them in a make-believe museum. So this is some examples. This is like a good example of horror in architecture. So, and this is the rock. This is the one I found that I was really inspired by. And the reason I share this story is because that idea was everything that drives the work. And I might not make another work like it, but it's everything behind it. And I think I'm sharing it with you because the idea is what I suppose I'm selling and sharing. And that's really, it's more than just the material. Let's let these couple slides go through. Yeah, I really was struggling thinking for an ask from today, other than having your attention and your support through art making, either by attending events or purchasing a piece if you're interested, or collaborating on a project, or any of my colleagues here. I think it's so important to have a community of people who are engaged and interested, and it may be through a Catapult forum. If you're interested in seeing how this project develops, you can follow me on Instagram, or you can make a donation on my Patreon page. This would help me to acquire studio materials, or make a donation to a local arts organization, like a local arts center, or or the Tertiary Arts Center, people who are facilitating artists in this province, ArtsLink NB. If we're living in capitalism and the idea is your money is where your vote is, support artists that way. And if the median income is, $17,000 a year, which I thought was astonishing, why not, reinvest in your artists locally, or talk to your MP or MLA or your city councilor and tell them why art is important in your community. Thanks.